I'm Liz Graciela, and this Skyline Scoops that's right now. Good morning, Raiders. Let's get today started with announcements. The Skyline GSA meeting is tomorrow, so don't forget. Senate is conducting new and gently used books for children. They're looking for reading levels pre-K to middle school level. Please bring your donations to G53A. The Skyline Raider Band had a jazz festival in the Student Center last week. Let's take a look. The art students that won in the vase competition had a ceremony. We talked to some of the artists. Let's see what they had to say.
Hi, my name is Jesus Campos, and I'm here with the Photography Collective. So, what reward did you get from your pictures?
I got a red medal, and that basically meant I'm in Division 2. And what inspired me to take this picture was my friend Soheila. And in the process of that, we were shooting it for an advertisement assignment. And I just really liked this shot, so I submitted it to the competition.
Okay, so how hard did y'all work on this? How long did it take y'all?
My name is Kelly. We worked really hard on this. We stayed a couple of days on this. We were in the studio changing backgrounds, just a lot of props. It was just really fun, and yeah.
What inspired you to take that picture?
What inspired me to take this picture was my name's Soheila. I was in Mexico, and the view was just amazing. I was visiting one of my relatives, and I just had to capture the moment. And with some few edits, it just looks, for me, it looks amazing.
So what inspired you to take that picture?
So my name is Edith, and what inspired me from this picture was we went to a field trip at the Arboretum. Thank you. And I liked the picture of the flower. It really captured my eyes, and when I edited on Photoshop, it really enhanced the color, and I just kind of loved it from how it looked.
Thank you for being here.
It's Women's Women's History Month, let's take a look at one of the greatest women in history. Now to you, Clarissa, with today's weather.
Good morning, Skyline Raiders. I'm Macy here with your weather for today. Tuesday, March 10th, it's a sunny day with a high of 80 and a low of 66. And tomorrow's going to be a cloudy day with a high of 76 and a low of 64. That's all we have for today, Raiders. Check you next time for more weather with Clarissa.
Let's see who's reporting lunch.
Okay. For Tuesday's lunch, we'll be having chicken nuggets and roll, harvest salad, steamed corn, steamed broccoli, blueberry medley, and the gala apple.
Here's your A segment.
Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion.
Women are making history every day, as this list demonstrates. Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 firsts for women in history. Number 10, first female American Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright.
Is that your grandma?
Yeah. It's Madeleine Albright.
That's her name? So, I usually just call my Nana.
No, that's Madeleine Albright, first female Secretary of State.
In her early childhood, Madeleine Albright's father worked for the Czech government. The family eventually fled to the United States for political reasons, and this early personal indoctrination into foreign political power fueled her own career. 39 years of age and the mother of 3 children before she held a government job, which was as chief legal assistant to U.S. Senator Ed Muskie, Albright got a bit of a late start.
You know how we all are. You want to get the feeling of the room, and do people like me, and will I really say something intelligent?
But she ultimately made up for lost time, and her impact on American and global history is intense and undeniable. In 1993, she became the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations and then the first ever female Secretary of State. This committed woman is still active in politics today.
Never, ever occurred to me that I could be Secretary of State.
Number 9, first woman to win a Pulitzer Prize for fiction, Edith Wharton. Her novels include The Touchstone, The House of Mirth, and of course the Pulitzer Prize-winning The Age of Innocence. Edith Wharton's funny and complex psychological writing often deals with the upper classes in the United States, of which she had intimate knowledge, being from a wealthy New York family. Those sisters Laura E. Richards and Maud Howe Elliott won a Pulitzer Prize for biography in 1917, Sarah Tisdale won a Pulitzer Prize for poetry in 1918, and Zona Gale won the Pulitzer Prize for drama in 1921. Wharton would be the first woman to win the Pulitzer for literature and fiction, and was also nominated 3 times for the Nobel Prize in Literature.
She was reading across genres, really a voracious learner, and she was reading in 5 different languages, sometimes ancient Norse when she was feeling up for a challenge.
Number 8, first American female doctor, Elizabeth Blackwell. Elizabeth Blackwell was born at a time when women simply could not be doctors. Originally from England, she moved to the United States with her family as a young child. By the time she was in her early 20s, Elizabeth was determined to become a doctor anyway. That was easier said than done though, because almost every medical school she applied to turned her down because she was a woman. At last, she was accepted to Geneva College, now Hobart College in New York, as the only woman in a class of 150. After she became the first woman to achieve a medical degree in America, she furthered her studies in Europe and then opened her own hospital in Europe. She would go on to help start the Women's Medical College so that other women could follow in her footsteps.
She founded the Women's Medical College. Keep talking. I'm just going to sit here and think about plutonium and the things I can do with it.
Number 7, first female Fortune 500 CEO, Katharine Graham.
I thought that everything depended on Deep Throat. I was pretty nervous, but it was a variety of things that made me nervous.
Katharine Graham's father owned the Washington Post newspaper, and he eventually left it not to her, but to her husband, Philip. Katharine explains in her autobiography that she was neither insulted nor surprised by this, and that it never occurred to her that she might run the company. Everything changed, though, when her husband committed suicide in 1963. Katharine took control of the newspaper, intending only to do so temporarily, but ending up maintaining control until her retirement in 1991. Her reign saw the newspaper through some of its most important developments, including publication of the Pentagon Papers and a series of articles on Watergate. Her success led to Katharine becoming the first female Fortune 500 CEO.
He said, "You have to come to work." And I was happy to do that because I cared a great deal about the company and about the Post, which I'd lived, the struggle for its existence had been part of my whole life.
Number 6. First woman to receive a patent in the United States, Mary Dixon Keyes. At a time when women were not even allowed to own property, it took a lot of courage to seek a patent. But Mary Keyes didn't let social backwardness stop her from claiming her intellectual property. Like many women living in New England at the time, she made her living by weaving straw hats. When she invented a new way of using thread to weave straw with silk and other materials, a technique that had great commercial potential, she successfully took out a patent. Reportedly, the First Lady was so impressed that she sent Mary a letter praising her work after her husband, President James Madison, signed the patent. Tragically, fickle fashion soon made Keyes' offerings obsolete, and this determined woman sank into poverty. Number 5. First elected female head of government in the modern world, Sirimavo Bandaranaike.
In 1960, Sirimavo Bandaranaike became the world's first woman prime minister, as everyone nationally and internationally was struck by the fact that the world's first woman prime minister should emerge from this small island nation.
Sri Lanka, then known as Ceylon, was one of the first non-white nations within Western Europe to institute universal suffrage in 1931. Less than 30 years later, it became the first nation in the world to elect a female head of government, the formidable Sirimavo Bandaranaike. It was a time of instability, only 12 years after the country gained independence, but Bandaranaike stepped up to the challenge. She went on to serve 3 non-consecutive terms, 1960 to 1965, 1970 to 1977, and 1994 to 2000, playing a significant role in Asian politics and in the non-aligned movement. Since that time, she'd been followed by many more female heads of state, including Benazir Bhutto, who became the first democratically elected female head of a mostly Islamic state in 1988.
My father would always say that if Nehru's daughter can become Prime Minister of India, my daughter is going to become Prime Minister of Pakistan.
Number 4. First woman to receive a Nobel Prize, Marie Curie.
My name is Marie Curie.
The first Nobel Prizes, established by the will of Alfred Nobel, were awarded in 1901. 2 years later, despite great adversity and many attempts to keep her off the list of nominees, Dr. Marie Curie was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics.
Że oto świat poznawalny jest na drodze rozumowej, więcej nawet, że świat nie jest poznawalny w inny sposób.
She won jointly with her husband Pierre and their friend Henri Becquerel. Their work with radioactivity, a term coined by Marie Curie, remains hugely influential.
In fact, when they were awarded the Nobel Prize, they refused to go and accept the prize personally because it would interfere with their research.
She went on to win another Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry in 1911, making her the first person and only woman to win a Nobel Prize twice, one of the only people to win 2 Nobel Prizes and the only person to win twice in more than one science. Number 3. First woman to lead an armed assault during the American Civil War, Harriet Tubman.
She was very strong, very determined, very directed, and had a kind of forcefulness and a kind of authority that people felt when they were with her.
Born into slavery in Maryland, Harriet Tubman rose against all odds to have a profound effect on American history. After escaping captivity, Tubman risked her life again and again to help other slaves escape.
You have the courage and the care about other people to come back into a hell to try to get other people out of it. It's an amazing story.
Not only was she active in the Underground Railroad, but during the American Civil War, she served as both a nurse and a spy. She's also credited as the first American woman to lead an armed assault, guiding soldiers up the Combahee River to attack multiple plantations and freeing over 750 slaves in the process. She was nicknamed Moses for her role in leading her people to freedom.
It's a very, very proper name, I think, for her, and one that she definitely lived up to.
Number 2. First woman to have flown in space, Valentina Tereshkova. Born to a poor Soviet family, Tereshkova started working full-time when she was only 17. In her free time, she learned how to parachute, and that skill is what took her from a textile factory to outer space. In 1963, she became the first woman to travel in space as the pilot of the Vostok 6. Though the mission lasted a little less than 3 days, the spaceship orbited Earth 48 times. After the voyage, she studied engineering and was honored as a hero of the Soviet Union. Since then, many women have followed her into outer space, including the first American woman and youngest American astronaut, Sally Ride.
I don't think that I viewed really anything in my world differently after the flight.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Developed economies, I would say that women have made great stride, progress. They are better represented and they're more engaged in the economies, in the politics, in social life.
When principles have to be defended,
when good has to be upheld, when evil has to be overcome, then Britain will take up arms.
2004. Yellen heads back to the Bay Area, this time to become president of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. 2005. Yellen feels uneasy about the U.S. housing market, saying, quote, "The housing sector represents a risk to the U.S. outlook."
Number 1. First female pilot to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, Amelia Earhart.
I know there's kind of a common theme that Amelia Earhart wasn't much of a pilot and less of a navigator, but I would dare anyone who says or thinks that to get in this airplane with just a compass and a road map from 1928 and make the trip that we just made.
Airplanes weren't even invented until after Amelia Earhart was born, and she was just a teen when Ramon de la Roche became the first woman to receive an airplane's pilot license in 1910. It didn't take Amelia long to follow in La Roche's footsteps.
Amelia Earhart demonstrates her flying prowess and adventurous spirit. And now, she is set to climb to new heights on her second attempt to cross the Atlantic.
In the following decade, she set a lot of records, both for women and for human flight in general, including her famous non-stop solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean. In just under 15 hours, she flew her Lockheed Vega 5B plane from Harbour Grace, Newfoundland to Culmore, Ireland. Unfortunately, not all of her flights were successful, and she mysteriously disappeared in 1937 while attempting to circumnavigate the planet.
When I get the right airplane, I shall attempt what no woman, or man for that matter, has ever attempted before.
Do you agree with our list? What's your favorite first in women's history?
The women and the men go through exactly the same training. The women and the men do exactly the same jobs on orbit.
For more exciting Top 10s published daily, be sure to subscribe to Ms. Mojo.
I could put out a whole newspaper dedicated to The Rock. I'd be a publisher just like Katharine Graham.
Or that lady who wheels Larry Flint around.
That's all for today, Raiders. Follow us at Skynet Broadcasting on Instagram to stay updated with school news, see behind the scenes of Skynet. And to catch your daily scoop, make sure to log on to skynetbroadcasting.org. I'm Liz Garcilla, and with everyone that brings Skynet News, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.